Hey, Trev Apocalypse, how you doing? Oh boy, man, not having a good day. Not having a good time. Eh, I am. I am exhausted. I'm kind of emotionally exhausted. Like like the yesterday I was talking about, you know, doing this rant on this fucking cracked article. I was like, five things you don't understand about child porn addiction. Like that fucking thing. Um, Let me just make sure I got the title of the fucking damn thing right. Yeah, five things I learned from being addicted to child porn. Which, man, problem is I can't get the damn thing out of my goddamn head. Um, I was like, hey, maybe I should rant about that, and I did, but like, I made so many. I made a lot of factual errors in the initial rant, so I tried to go back and record it, and every time I try to do that, I just like fucking I just slide into this despair. You know, I just slide into this despair because nothing beat the raw emotion of that initial recording, and I feel like like you Chancellor Valoran, just fucking beaten down because I'm trying to be reasonable, but everything about me just wants to be extremely unreasonable. And I don't feel good about being reasonable about a topic like child pornography. I don't feel good about it at all. I don't want to be reasonable. I'm not interested in being reasonable, you know, but the problem is even impassioned, I have to hold myself to a reasonable standard on when when I'm talking about actually could really matter. Hey, Lady TL, how you doing? Uh, so it's one of those, like, when it really matters, I'm I'm a little I'm a little I worry about being a little bit more um I don't want to be so cavalier, but I also didn't want to mute the intensity of emotion. Like, I don't know how to say it other than um I don't like the idea of I don't like the method of arguing that a lot of pedophiles are making in these think piece articles, because it's really bad, and it leads to very, very bad places. Um, I mentioned in one version of the recording that there's actually another cracked article, which is much better, called five was it like five things I learned. Let me get the actual like title of it for you. This is a much better article. Depressing. It's depressing, but it's a lot. It's just way better. It's called Five Things I Learned Infiltrating Deep Web Child Molesters. This is a really good article, unlike Five Things I Learned from Being Addicted to Child Porn. You know, like Five Things I Learned Infiltrating Deep Web Child Molesters. This is way, 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 way better. You know, it talks about how he tried to enter and infiltrate the community. It talks about the steps that were taken. It discusses this young student journalist, Pam, who did the undercover work and everything that she had to go through in order to get even a cursory glance in, and the things that she found. And one of the things that she found was this file called the Pedophile's Handbook. And a lot of it is apparently about, you know, how to gain people's trust, how to insinuate yourself into people's lives, and how to create arguments which justify your behavior. And of course, it's a document that you can't get a hold of. You know, so we don't know exactly what is in it. But Pam talks about how there are a lot of arguments and justifications that are being made within the pedophile community, and how they're kind of insinuating themselves into, you know, the greater tolerance conversation. But of course, Cracked can't link to that file. You know, it's a dangerous file to have, because it's something that can get you arrested for having. You know, so so there's this big, so the thing that is so upsetting about one of the things that is really upsetting about the topic of pedophilia is because it's so bad and it's so dark, for a very good reason that we treat it like that, to touch it. It's a nuclear substance. You know, just looking into it can do immense damage to your reputation, to your career, to your personal life, just doing anything at all. you know, it's so taboo because they don't want, nobody wants anyone to have anything to do with it. Like absolutely. There is. I was warned by a few people that if I was to make an anti-pedophilia video, that was most likely going to get flagged and my channel could get a strike. Just in case. Like, just in case you were somehow connected, you got to go down too. It's the opposite of everything's okay or none of it's okay. They've chosen none of it's okay in the instance of pedophilia, which is very understandable. But it does make it a very, very hard topic to talk about at all. And so I'm not a journalist. I'm not a journalist. I'm a guy with an opinion. At best, I'm the old weird. At best, I'm the weird mystic that you come to when you need like answers to a question nobody talks about. Which is why I wanted to talk about it in the first place, because like I wander in the dark places that like people fear to tread, and I report what I find, not in a journalistic way, but in a way that has that's a bit more personal, and hopefully will provide guidance and meaning in a world that has been made chaotic because of the way we have decided to do things collectively. But this topic, this pedo thing, it just, it's challenging all of that. It's challenging all that because it's so awful. So I think maybe the best thing to do is to talk about this stuff live, where I don't have to worry about, and on Twitch, where I don't have to worry about the future of my YouTube channel as much. My Twitch channel gets taken down. We're so new to this that we could just start up and then just not do it again. The YouTube channel is a little bit harder. And I'll be honest, I'm a little disappointed in myself. I'm a little disappointed in myself for not going all in with the risk. So many of my heroes have been people who've like just risked everything. But I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. So there are two incidents I kind of want to talk about, and it's in relation to the Cracked article, but it's not. But they're not absolutely connected. But you'll see why when we get to the end of it. On my mother's side of the family, I have an uncle through marriage. No blood relationship whatsoever. And he was arrested for trafficking child pornography. This was shortly after my grandfather's on that side, on my mother's father's funeral, and during that funeral, we met all of these weird people that he was doing business with. Um, this was one guy in particular whose name I cannot remember because I had never seen him before, nor have I ever seen him since. Who was saying things about my little sister that no adult man should ever say. Things that were getting way too fucking creepy and way too weird. Oh, she's prettier than the others. Oh, look how she walks. Excuse me? That's not right. That ain't normal. That's not what a normal person says about a fucking like 11-year-old kid. No, a normal person doesn't say that. So it got progressively more uncomfortable, and I was already not in a good mood because I do not get along with my family. And I was in my uncle's study, and this guy is there. I pick up a fucking letter opener, knife-shaped letter opener, and I go, "If you ever fucking mention my sister again, I'm gonna fucking stab the shit out of you." Her name does not cross your fucking lips, and you will be lucky if I leave you those. Couple weeks later is when we discovered that, yes, indeed, they were part of a child pornography ring. My grandmother had discovered a NAMBLA letterhead in their house. That's all awful. That is all bad. That is all super, super bad. But none of that compares to what the real damage that happened afterwards was, which was the excuse making. The excuse making. This man was allowed to continue to be part of the family because they were like, well, we don't want to, because no one was willing to pass judgment. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He can't be allowed to be here. You have got to, you've got to do something. You got to say so. You have to throw them out. That he has to be thrown out. At all cost. Oh, but she'll remove the other children, then we can't protect them from him. No bullshit. No bullshit. What's done is done. And if it has been happening, it has already been happening. And if this guy is allowed to be around the rest of the family, there is no family. There is no family. And of course his wife, my aunt, made all kinds of excuses for him, said it was really about drug trafficking. I'm like, oh, I'm so fucking sure. Well, it's okay because he turned everybody else in. So, okay, so now which one is it, bitch? Did he snitch on everyone else in the ring, or did he deal drugs? But no one ever threw him out, and so he was still there. He lived in my grandmother's house up until the point that she died. No one ever wanted to pronounce judgment against this man within the family, which is absolutely what was needed. It was absolutely what was needed, but no one wanted to do it. And so nobody did. And the only thing that I could think to do that would be helpful, because, realize I'm 18. like 17, 18. I might have even, yeah, 17, 18. The only thing I could think of to do that would be helpful in protecting my little brother and sister is to make sure I always carried a knife. Because what else could I do? Like, gun would be going too far, right? Besides, I couldn't afford one. But gun could get me shot by the cops. Knife, as I would find out, walking around with a knife, even in an area where it's legal, if you're the wrong kind of person, will get a cop to put a gun to your head. Like, I found that out. I could still see that cop's face, man. Don't you dare tell anybody. So people are like, oh, you can trust the cops. I'm like, oh, I'm so fucking sure. I'm so fucking sure. And the other cop, of course, he let it happen. I have no great love or trust of the police. They are a gang of thugs, and I can only hope that they are thugs that thug in the direction that I want them to. It's all I can hope for. So yeah, so as soon as a few years after that, it was about 3 years, I think. So I left the house when I was about like 20. It gets a little weird because like time during that period of time when you're like in your late teens seems to move by a lot slower than when you're an adult. So keeping it straight in my head is a little difficult. So I officially move out of the house when I'm close to the age of 20. My mother didn't even say goodbye to me. I just left. At least if she did say goodbye to me, I don't remember it. And yeah, I just left. I had to. Over the course of me being gone, according to my brother, who I reconnected with much later, the entire family just completely disintegrated. It just completely disintegrated, and the final nail in the coffin was my grandmother's death. And I was like, which I did not go to her funeral. I loved my grandmother. I did not go to her funeral. A friend of mine actually forbid me from going, and he's like, "You're not allowed to go." And I'm like, "Why?" Because I had been planning to go. I had been trying to figure out what to do, and I'm walking around, and he's like, "You're not allowed to go." And I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, "Because do you know what we have been doing for the last 3 hours?" I'm like, "What do you mean? What do you mean? What have we been doing for the last 3 hours?" I've been talking to you about my family. And he's like, "Yeah. And you've been looking at knives. You've been going to knife stores trying to figure out." He's like, "And I know you. You're trying to figure out whether you should take a plane or a bus or buy a knife when you get there. Because you're gearing up for war." And he's like, and I don't mean like you're gearing up for like a verbal war. You're going to stab somebody. And I was like, oh shit, you're right. I'm going to fucking stab somebody. I'm going to stab my uncle, or stab my cousin, or stab my aunt. I'm not going. I'm staying home. I won't. I refuse. Like I've been in bad situations before, but like I've been in violent situations before, but I've never taken a life. So best not to fucking tempt that demon. So And the article touched a lot of nerves for me because there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that justification. It's sort of, oh, I'm not as bad as kind of shit. And I'm like, oh, I recognize this crap. I recognize this crap very well. Yeah, I'm sorry this one ain't that fun. I try to be fun, but no, I'm being plagued by bad thoughts and bad memories, and I got to put some sort of order back to all this. I don't think I could handle murdering someone either. I don't think I'd be good with that. You know. Well, I hope that's true. You know, I hope I couldn't handle killing somebody. But everyone's got their limit and everyone's got the exception. Like everybody does. You know, and usually they're ones that we can agree with. You know, guy guy breaks into a dude's house, shoots him because he's holding his sister hostage. You know, there you go. That's one. That's one that I think we could understand. Just, oh, geez. Well, of course. You know, fucking of course. You know, well, maybe we need to put him away for a little while, let him cool off in the pokey, but I don't know if we need to give that guy, like, the full sentence. That's kind of extenuating circumstance kind of deal. Extreme. So, one of the other incidents. God, I feel so fucked up, like admitting what I just admitted about my aunt's funeral and everything. It's a real dark chapter in my life. It's super bad. It's super dark. It's stuff I don't like sharing, but at the same time, it's like, well, like this is it's why I deal with it's why I deal with the dark side so much, because it's helped me so many times. Like admitting that there was something like that. There's a point where if you're pushed, you do the bad thing. Knowing that keeps you from doing it, because all of a sudden you can start to see the signposts. Like everything, you start realizing, oh shit, like there are actually a whole bunch of warning signs, like don't go here, turn back. And recognizing that that's in you strengthens them. So you're like, oh geez, don't do that. Don't you know don't you got to find some way to illuminate the darkness. You can't just close your eyes. That's just the worst thing you could do. you know because now you can't see if there's any light. I mean, it's already terrifying. you know Yeah. So yeah, so that's just a lot of fun. But one of the other incidents, and this is one of those, man, people super don't like talking about this. This is shit that people super don't like talking about. Um, I don't know how to say it other than a lot of people know about this guy, Ed Kramer, who was the founder of uh, Dragon Con. He was a pedophile. Is technically he's still alive. He's in jail, and he got Dragon Con over a barrel. That was some of the most frustrating shit ever because he's uncovered, and the convention is like, wait, what? Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! What do we do? What do we do? No, 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 it can't be true. It can't be true. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Oh shit, it's true. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. How do we convince people and families to still come to our event when a fucking pedophile started the damn thing? So you would normally think that the thing that you should do is close down and restructure. They couldn't. They were legally barred from dissolving the company because in Georgia, if someone who sits on the board is convicted of a felony, the company cannot declare bankruptcy and it cannot dissolve. Yeah, yeah, that's real. That was real. Like me and a couple of lawyer friends, I looked into it and had a couple lawyer friends look for me. Look with me, actually. We looked into it together and we found that law and we were like, oh shit. But there's also like a gag order. So they also could not talk about it. So they were Dragon Con was completely fucked because the other thing they're not allowed to do is deliberately destroy the company. That's also a felony. That's malfeasance. So the only move that they could make for a long time was just pay Ed Kramer. Just pay him to stay away. And he dragged out that trial process. He used every step in the book to prevent going to trial. 10 years worth of stalling. So Dragon Con is sitting there dangling, like a worm on the proverbial hook, just going, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, trying to keep everything quiet, trying to make sure nothing too bad happens. Finally, Nancy Ann Collins, whose reputation had been destroyed because she had blown the lid off Ed Kramer, was like, that's it. Publicly boycott this show. We got to get rid of this. We have to do this. All right, this turns out to be the best move because it brings Ed Kramer back into the light. And it turns out he's not only violating parole because he's a kitty diddler. They put the fucking leg, the tracking device on his leg. But he gets caught. He gets caught molesting children again. So he gets caught. Nancy Ann Collins calls for the boycott around the same period of time. And the convention moves to deny him as much of the money as they can legally withhold in order to bleed his funds out, because the convention is what's paying for his legal defense. But the convention can't close, can't not pay him, and can't restructure legally. They are legally prohibited from doing all of those things. They have to stay in business. They have to make a profit. They can't close down, and they can't remove him from the board. Doing any of those things was a felony. So the law completely fucked the convention. They were completely screwed. They couldn't do anything until he got caught doing it again. The minute that happened, all of a sudden, because it turns out there had been a plan, but it was like, we have to wait, we have to wait, we have to wait, we have to wait. Once that happened, new case gets opened up, new things get put into evidence, and Dragon Con, and he has to pay a lot of shit, and he's violated a multi-million-dollar parole, a bail. Like, he has to pay like a multi-million-dollar bail. He needs to do it now. So what they did was they were like, all right, tell you what, we'll buy you out. Here is the money that we have been set aside for this moment. Here, have your 10 million. Now now sign this, remove yourself from the board, release us from everything. Release us from every tie with you so that we can just finally be done with this. And he had to. Otherwise he wasn't going to be able to keep himself out of jail. So he did, and then Dragon Con was just like, fuck yes. Fuck yes. Holy crap, finally. And if you want to talk about, like, the shit that this guy would do, in order to keep from going to court, he would claim medical conditions. Like, he would arrive in court in, like, wheelchairs and IVs and shit and claim that he couldn't stand trial. 10 years. 10 fucking years. This was made worse by the fact that the Atlanta PD also mishandled his case. It was a complete disaster. Everything was a fucking disaster. It's like, it couldn't have gone more wrong. The only way it could have gone more wrong is if they didn't arrest him in the first place. It was the only way it could have gone more wrong. I actually still have somewhere, I'd have to look at. Now, when I talk about, like, Ed Kramer and him being very prominent in the fan community, the fantasy, horror, science fiction fan community, he was extremely prominent. He edited several anthologies for White Wolf. I still have them. as a some of those stories are very good, but also as a reminder, that you don't know. You don't know who these people are most of the time. You just gotta be on the lookout, and they will prey on the most vulnerable. They always do. And, fan community and vulnerability, hey, they kind of go hand in hand. Like, it's one of those things where you're like, if you think there aren't pedophiles in the anime community, you are dead fucking wrong. You are absolutely dead fucking wrong. And it's also, and weirdly enough, like, a lot of this is also why I put up such a hard bulwark of adult consenting sexuality. Because believe it or not, that's part of it is that's a big get the fuck away, to pedophilia. Because they fucking know. Like they fucking know like this. They know that like people like me don't tolerate them. Yeah, are you talking about this? Yeah, that's actually part of the ongoing drama of me just dealing with this whole subject. I In a moment of complete frustration, I fucking punched my screen. The screen that's usually behind me. It's intact. It's fine. It's just not up at the moment. But I punched it and it fucking split my knuckle open. So there's a bandage on it right now. you know. Um so I wanted to do the rant, but the problem is I don't think I am the person that can actually that can actually do that properly. It's one of those things where it's like if I start kicking, I'm not going to stop. So I hate the fact I hate the fact that I feel like I have to walk away from it. I really do. I fucking hate it. I really fucking hate it, but so I'm talking about it this way. All right. So I told you the Ed Kramer thing so I could tell you the other actual story. Um One of the worst. So Ed Kramer is bad. He's real bad. He's super bad. But we're going to go deeper, we're going to go deeper into the rabbit hole. So, many of you, particularly if you're fantasy science fiction fans, may be familiar with the name Marion Zimmer Bradley. Marion Zimmer Bradley was part of a pedophile ring, as it turns out. She wrote a book called Mists of Avalon that a lot of young feminist fantasy authors and fans held up as like kind of the paragon of feminist fantasy writing. And her children later on, her adopted daughter, fucking came out and started talking about all the stuff that was happening. And at first you're like, I thought Marion Zimmer Bradley was just kind of a bitch. I didn't realize that she was fucking. Wait, is that real? And it turns out it was real. It was 100% real. The so real that like guys who were in correspondence with people in the fan community that she was a part of came out with letters that they had received about her husband Walter Breen. Walter Breen was a science fiction fantasy writer of much less renown than his wife. He was also a pedophile in a big way. And huge excuses were made within the community for his behavior, and eventually yeah, and yeah, sorry, my mind kind of recoils. Um Yeah, there was a letter that was written, that got passed around in the sorry, my mind goes blank a little bit. Um, yeah, it's just it's just horrifying if you can find some of the letters that people had written to people outside of the Bay Area Science Fiction Fan Association, to people on the outside, about what was going on and how he was behaving and how everyone was making excuses for Walter Breen's behavior, and how one of the big things that kept him shielded was Marion Zimmer Bradley, and her marriage to him, and how in the end, even though he had been exposed, everyone felt very sorry for her, but it turns out she was completely in on it. Like holding her adopted daughter down, in on it. Totally fucking, like, you ever seen the movie The Woman? Like, the mom in that. Yeah, yeah. Gonna let that happen. Not even gonna let that happen. Gonna do it and cover up and all that shit. And you're just like, this is some of the most disgusting shit I've ever heard. And of course, when you bring something like that up, everyone's like, "Oh, you're a liar. How could you say that about such an important author?" So, like, when people, it's kind of fucked up because, like, when World Fantasy removed, H.P. Lovecraft from the statue for being racist, I cackled evilly. I was like, yeah, 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 yeah. Gonna You were gonna ditch H.P. Lovecraft, but Marion Zimmer Bradley, that's okay. Ain't that grand? Ain't that about a bitch? You know, much. You know, yeah. When did I think that all went down in like 2014? A lot of apologetic. Like, you want to talk about, like, if you think like people were making apologetic excuses for H.P. Lovecraft. Oh man, you ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing, compared to like the backpedaling that, like, the apologetics and the backpedaling people did for Marion Zimmer Bradley. It was completely disgusting. Because you're running up against two things, right? Oh, how could a woman do this? How could a woman do this to her own family? And oh God, you know, a majority of, many of the people who are trying to get rid of H.P. Lovecraft were her proteges, or her proteges would probably be overstating it. Advocates, disciples, followers. I don't know what the right word would be. The people who really, really looked up to her and got involved in this kind of stuff because of her. Now all of a sudden they had this problem. They had a pedophilia problem, and they didn't know what to do. But the whole issue just kind of like went away. It just kind of disappeared. Because no one wants to think about it. No one wants to talk about it. And I can't say as I blame them. It's truly, truly awful. Yeah. How do you make well, if GL Knight, if you want an example of how to do that while still condemning it, I recommend the movie Hard Candy. You know, if you want to see, a story where you sympathize with a pedophile just enough to be horrifying and then go back to, the revenge, hey, Hard Candy. It's a good movie. It's truly fucked up. Oh yeah, growing up with an abusive stepmother. Yeah, women can be damn evil. They can be truly, truly, truly nasty. Truly, truly horrific and wicked. You know. Yeah. You know. Yeah, Marion Zimmer Bradley's daughter wrote about it. She wrote about everything. She blew the lid off. And that's how a bunch of this old evidence started to resurface and how that all happened. I gotta pee. So I'm gonna go do that. I'll be I'll be back in a minute. Uh, so, yep. Oh yeah, Pizzagate is bullshit. That's complete bullshit. Like that connection is so fucking tenuous. You know, no, no, I don't buy that for a minute. You need that. That's an extraordinary claim, and that requires extraordinary evidence, and it's got nothing. You know. Yeah, yeah, it's little too much. A little too much bullshittery on that Pizzagate thing. That's why I didn't bother to talk about it. I'm like, that ain't real. That ain't real. You know. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's real easy to get trapped in a state of paranoia. When you got like it's very easy. Why I wanted to talk about the article is it's very easy for a community to disarm itself against this type of thing because of the arguments that come up. Um, it's very easy to it's very easy to say, "Oh, he's just odd," or "She's just odd," or things like that. But one of the other things that and I recommend the deep web pedophile article because it illuminates so much. Um, it talks about how there actually is a there's a lot of discussion that there's a split between those that call themselves child lovers and pedophiles is weird. It's really weird. There's a lot of, oh, we're not like those people that actually act on it. But the problem is like, well, good, continue to not act on it with real children, but you want my sympathy? The answer is no. You kind of need to be isolated for the good of everybody else. You know, there are certain things in this world that we're not cool with. There are a lot of things that we're not cool with, and nor should you be. So I'm talking about this shit here now on the stream because like I want to get back to other things. I want to go back to things that are a bit more fun, give life purpose. But I'm not one to really turn a blind eye to awfulness, even when I don't know what to do about it. Because really, we've got nothing. We have nothing. There really is only protect you and yours. That's all you got. You know. I wish there was. I wish there was something else, but there kind of isn't. These problems have plagued societies for so long. No one has a good answer except the violent ones, because that's why when it reduces you to allowed to run amok, that's what you're reduced to. I always thought it was really funny. Like, everyone likes to make the argument. People particularly like. I love it when people um, blame Satanism for child molestation. I think that's really fucking hilarious. Um, because it actually is one of the few philosophies that just flat out states, no, that's evil. That's wrong. You're not supposed to do it. Don't do it. You know, that we don't cotton to that shit. No, we don't tolerate it. It's not okay. You know, everyone else has like some sort of, protective shield. Because what Satanism does is it teaches you to see past self righteousness. You know, because when you can see past self righteousness, it becomes a lot easier to make determinations. To actually pass judgment, because it's all about playing devil's advocate, being devil's advocate. And sometimes what the devil's advocate helps you find is no, no. The answer is no. Say we let you have your way. Say it's okay. Where are we then? Where are we then? That's when the Garden of Earthly Delights turns into a plague-filled swamp. No. You have to, it's a disease, and you have to like kind of fight it off. You have to fight it off. Otherwise it consumes everyone, because now no one can trust. Now no one knows who their friends are, and you can feel it every time you deal with the subject. And it's everyone who deals with the subject, even to fight against it, feels that growing sense of paranoia, and like, oh god, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Is this worth it? All of them. All of them. You know. You think being part of the special victims unit is easy? It's not easy. It's not easy. You're looking into the darkest parts of this. What then? Jack, have you been in any further contact with TST? TST? I actually don't know who that is. The is the Satanic Temple. No, contact would be overstating it. Contact would be overstating it. I still need to officially join. You know. I think they got bigger fish to fry. Than talking to some random YouTuber. Yeah. I think maybe when I get to LA, I'll probably try to find some people, like, because one of the problems of San Francisco is that it's not a fantastically social area. Weirdly enough, not anymore. Used to be, not anymore. Because now it's just sort of work in the Silicon Valley, come home, sleep, pay rent, go out, back to work, come back. It's shit like that. So like I go to every bar I go to, like every doorman's like, yeah, man, it's fucking dying. Nightlife is dying out here. I don't know what the fuck. No one knows what the fuck to do. Because people just don't go out. Then What can you do? Charles Manson has been hospitalized. Finally a celebrity death we can get behind. Oh man, that's kind of funny. Uh, oh hey Razorvine. Oh jeez. Yeah, I can't properly express, what it's like to live in the middle of all that craziness where you know, your family is so racked with strife and indecision that it can't muster the will to expel a pedophile or child pornographer, if we're gonna split that hair. That's no good. It's absolutely no good. Now let's see. I don't know what else to talk about. I really think that that's the main thing that you have to say. Well, no, like I can get a little bit more specific. All right, so when you're reading a lot of these articles about pedophiles, especially when the pedophiles are talking about themselves, be on the lookout for the way certain things are equated. One phrase that they like to use right now, and it's very insidious, which is addiction. They're not evil people; they're addicted. And I'm like, yeah, but it's a compulsion that you have for which there is no known alternative course of action. You know, things like that go deep, and they're unchanging. There's this part of the human brain that, as far as we know, doesn't change, and it sits within that. There are a lot of other things that sit within that too, things that aren't bad, but this is one of the bad ones. It's kind of like, so be on the lookout for that. Like, look out for language that is intended to get you to sympathize with this person, but always recognize at the end of the day we are talking about being sexually attracted to children. You always got to remind yourself that, otherwise you get caught in this web. You get caught in this web of, well, maybe, and once that happens, you're fucked. You're just utterly screwed. You don't know which way is up. You don't know which way is down. And you're just in chaos, and it's not a good chaos. It's not fun. Pedophiles will always make. GL Knight says pedophiles will always make themselves out to be a martyr. My family has seen that happen a lot since we began working with the National Center. Yep. Always happens. Always happens. So you gotta watch out for that kind of thing. Because remember, why are they trying to get your sympathy? Well, so that they can have access to kids. You know, that's part of it. Gaining your trust, insinuating yourself back in. You know, you know, that's you see it all the time, and people do get snookered in. Otherwise bright people can get snookered in by that, because you're using that talk that they've attached so much to their identity with, which is the talk of understanding and tolerance. And here's where it goes too far. Here's where you're supposed to just abandon all judgment, not just prejudgment, but all judgment. And that's bad. That's really bad. Is the high coincidence of martyrdom in the church and in pedophilia anything to speak of? I don't know. Interesting idea. I don't know how you would look for that. You'd have to be worried about confirmation bias looking into something like that, because I don't know what evidence, true evidence you would find. But that's a big deal. Yeah, and also be on the lookout for shifting blame. Another thing that will happen, and the article that spawned all this definitely is guilty of this, is they will try to find a convenient scapegoat for their own behavior, while at the same time going, I know it doesn't excuse anything, which they're right, it doesn't, but you're trying to paint yourself as a victim, and no. A favorite target is pornography. It's evil porn's fault if I hadn't seen child porn. No, I'm sorry, that's an easy answer, and it's not true. We all run into all types of porn that we look at and we're like, oh no. You don't have to think about it. You see child porn, you're immediately like, ugh. Like it's an instinct. It's a complete instinct. Yeah. But they like to say that because they know that a lot of people don't like porn. So if we can equate that. I had a friend, and here's the thing: if you don't think that kind of like, if you don't think that kind of thing happens, it absolutely does. It absolutely does. Like, people get together and try to figure out how to insinuate themselves into conversations so that they can gain protection. There is a researcher out there called Gad Saad, who talks about the connection between the phrase Islamophobia and the Islamic Brotherhood. He's like, oh yeah, that was an idea that they came up with in order to get the sympathy of leftist America, the intellectual leftist elite, to get them on their side. And it's like, well, why would they do that? It's like, well, you always want someone on your side, and a lot of people were like, oh, well, prove it. And it's like, well, it's very, I can trace the line to you, but the problem is that to really truly understand that that's something that's happened, you had to be close to the inside. You had to know somebody close to the inside who's part of those conversations. And I was like, yeah, absolutely, because I did have somebody. I had this guy I went to school with at the Academy of Art, this guy Tony. He came from a Muslim family. He was an atheist, and his father was a member of the Islamic Brotherhood here in America. And he'd talk about the things that they're talking about. He's just like, Dad, this is monstrous. What are you doing? No, Dad, I'm not talking to you anymore. He cut his father out of his family. He's like, no, I'm not having you around. This is monstrous. What are you doing? you know. And it really was with the goal. It wasn't necessarily with the goal of spreading terrorism, but it was part of the goal of spreading Islam to the West, making it more palatable to the West while changing nothing. You know, yeah. And then if you want to talk, he talked about his household. He's like, oh yeah. To him, he and my mom get into fights all the time because he's like, no, your place is here, and she's like, no. You know, it's like, well, the Quran says. She's like, no, fuck that, forget it. You know. So when a lot of people come up to me and they're like, well, is Islam any more sexist than any other religion? The answer is yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. There's no question about it. You look at the words, you read the words, and you're like, wow. Like, this actually goes a couple of steps farther than fucking Christianity. Congratulations. Let's not pretend. Now, granted, that is the modern interpretation. They didn't used to interpret it that way, but when we're talking about modern interpretation, we're talking about since, the 1600s. Back during the height when Islam was the jewel of the world, the center of learning, and gave us, arithmetic and all that shit, they didn't interpret it that way. They didn't interpret it in a sexist way, but in the modern world, it is. It is interpreted that way. So you gotta be careful. So when people are like, well, it's not all Muslims, it's some of them. And I'm like, well, here's the problem, which is that is the way it is taught from the clerics. So we need to separate the faithful from the clerics here. We don't need to be lumping them all in to a single category that needs to be defended along with the ideology itself. That's ridiculous. That's completely ridiculous. We just separated out and expunged Christian thought. Why would we let Islamic thought in? That makes no sense. That makes absolutely no sense. It's like, look, if you want to believe in this, there are certain adjustments that you got to make, because you are in the West now. Number one, freedom of expression. We can depict and draw Muhammad, period. Number two, the equality of gender. Women are equal, just deal with it. You got to at least be as equal as women under modern Western Christian thought. You have to at least hit that mark, which is already not hitting the mark. But if you're not hitting it that well, what the fuck? You got to be doing a little bit better. You got to be doing better. Because we cannot be okay with this. We can't. We didn't even let Muslims. We didn't even let fucking Mormons have 2 wives, okay? We didn't let them have that. We were like, nope, that creates a gigantic inequality. That's wrong. And fuck you. No. Answer's no. And that's what that's what has to be done. And if Islamic people are willing to make those adjustments, then we've got no problem. We've got no problem. Everything else is just a detail, but those are tenets. Those are tenets of Western civilization. They're not minor details. They are important tenets, and you need to stick to them. And we will stick to them. We will. Even if it means going in a much more conservative direction. Don't think that wasn't a factor in the last election. It totally was. During one of the worst mass shootings that was a terrorist act, we're going to defend Islamic people on the left? You got to be kidding me. We're going to make every excuse for this guy who killed all these gay people? You gotta be kidding me. No. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. You know, the big problem is, how do you change the view of an entire culture? Well, one day at a time, really. Yeah. I loved how they did that. You know, they shifted the blame of Islamic extremism during the shooting and shifted it on to gay people. It was weird. It was so fucking weird. You know, like, how could you? You're like, how could you do that? How could you do that? That is insane. Yeah, exactly. Like, people were like, "Oh, well, it's because of his crazy father." Yeah, his crazy father who preached a crazy version of Islam at him. You know, it's like, well, not all Islamic people believe that, and we're like, okay, prove it. You go fucking do something about it, you know? But don't shift the blame onto you can't shift the blame onto white people. They weren't fucking involved. You know, like, that was one situation where it was like, you fucking what? White America wasn't involved in that shooting except as the victim. You know, because, you know, Florida, I'm sure some of those gay people were fucking white. You know, and that was a big fucking argument that the right had against the left that no one could argue with. You know, no one could argue with it. You know, you're like, well, yeah, kind of dropped the ball there. Yeah. The campaign just fucked that all up. You know, like, oh, we need to defend Muslims. I got a better idea. How about we take a stand against religious extremism? How about we take the stand? We do it. You know, because it really is it's one way of life versus another. You know, when we're getting into these things, when we're getting into the murder of gay people, like, come on. Come on. You know? You can't be like that. Yeah, plenty of people were blaming white America for that shooting, and I was like, that's blatantly not true. Like, hey, I don't mind crying racism. I don't mind fucking, like, out in Whitey, the blue-eyed devil, but, like, he wasn't there. He wasn't fucking there. You know, he's categorically not there. Categorically not a factor. You know, but no, it had to be a factor anyway. Just like, what the fuck? What the fuck? It's so bad. Yeah, exactly. We need to defend, oh, I don't know, the victims. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And if you think that didn't cost, the Democratic Party Florida, you're crazy. It absolutely did. That's why Florida is just like, fuck you. Fuck you, Hillary Clinton. Fuck you. You know, because, you know, who was dealing with it? Who was dealing with the aftermath? Fucking Florida. You know, because for all the bullshit the Florida pulls, here was a situation, well, they kind of had a point. Well, they didn't kind of have a point. They had a complete point. It's like, wait, you're telling us for what? Fuck you. You know, like, we got attacked. You know, like, our gay people got attacked. What the fuck? We're gonna turn your back on gay America in this moment? Fuck you. You know, fuck you. You know, I didn't want it to turn conservative, but it was going to. It was going to. It almost had to. You know. You know, we were throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And we on the left were throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and it wasn't acceptable. And a lot of those of us on the left who had been saying so, whoa, we didn't make out so good. They fucking pilloried us. We got pilloried. You know? And I'm worried, I'm worried about the kind of arguments that you're making. Like, I heard that a lot. I'm worried about the kind of people that you're attracting. I heard that a lot too. Well, you're sounding like a conservative right now. And I'm like, well, think about the actual issue itself. Maybe it's an issue that requires a little looking at it from the other side. Do you have a better solution? Do you have a good solution? Do you have any solution? Do you have anything other than you're starting to sound like conservative America? How dare you? And I'm like, that's not a true response. That's not a true argument. But yeah, I heard that a lot. And that was not fun. That was not fun at all. And if you want like evidence of how retarded some of these people go, there were so many times in a racial discussion, a discussion of race, you talk to these people, it was primarily white people, where it was like, yeah, we're discussing privilege and stuff. I had no place to speak. And I'm like, whoa. I'm not a white guy. Yeah, but you're male. What? But we're talking about race. We're talking about race, and I am closer to the racial discussion than you could ever fucking be. Like, just flat out, yeah, but you're male. Okay, I guess if that's how we're gonna play this, fuck you. Like, you're all of a sudden it's like, yeah, no matter what, always being silenced by white people. No matter what side of that fence you were on. That's when I started saying, I am not your fucking invisible man. Obvious reference to Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man. A reference that I think actually went over people's heads. Which I was sort of like, man, they used to make you read that shit in school. Everyone used to have to read that. You telling me you haven't? Oh my God, you fighting racism? You haven't read The Invisible Man? Holy crap! Whew. Oh yeah. Oh man, no. If you want to feel bad about being white, watch Paul Mooney. Yeah. He'll make you laugh while fucking making you feel bad for being white. He's really good at that. It's one of his superpowers. He's fantastic at it. If you're like, man, I feel like I need to exercise some of his white guilt. Yeah, check out Paul Mooney. Like he gets into like all that ridiculous shit. He's like, this is fucking ridiculous. Yeah, like, do I have to be a queer black trans lady? Like, sometimes it felt that way. Sometimes it really felt that way. And you're just sort of like, oh, jeez. Like, just to speak, this is too much. Sure, on women's issues, women's word matters more. I don't think anyone would argue against that. No reasonable person's going to argue against that. But like, not being able to speak at all, that's bad for everybody. It makes your argument worse. It silences the opposition, which is always bad. That's always bad. Silencing the opposition, always bad. It never works well. Never works out in the end. Meow.
Linda ordered Escape from New York. It's going to be coming here.
Oh, this pizza's gonna be arriving?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She saw your stream and wanted you to feel better.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Just thought you should know.
thank you. Thanks for letting me know, dude. Uh, silence in the opposition is how President Trump happened. Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Fucking Joe Bob Briggs. Funny enough, it was Joe Bob Briggs that fucking laid it all out and nobody listened. They were like, "Oh, I don't understand what all this Trump talk is talking about." He's like, "It's anti-PC. It's pushback against PC. That's what it is. That's what they keep saying. You know, they're not hiding it. They're saying right up, this is about like, you know, pushing back against PC." He's like, they're not saying that just to say it. That's their reason. Now, whether or not you think PC is a real thing is irrelevant because they believe it is. That's the reason. So you have to examine that. If you have any hope of defeating this, you know, because he wasn't a Trump guy. You know, like fucking Joe Bob's been a libertarian for like ever. He didn't like Trump. He hated him. You know, but he wanted liberal America to fucking wise up. You know, it's like, it's not just about being racist. They're tired of having no voice. You know, they got no voice right now. They can't have no voice. You know, they're the heartland. Why does that matter? They make all the food. They're the farmers. You need to address their concerns because they're a critical part of the society we live in. I see that. It's bunny year time, apparently.
Whatever he's saying. Was it Ileana Gonzalez in there?
Yeah,
this
she is.
The new one. The new one. This is actually a sweatshirt for the cold weather.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Oh, man. I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm cheese. You know, but like there was definitely a little bit. There was so many times during that election where I really felt that what was kind of needed was we actually did on the left need a little bit of that America fuck yeah. You know, oh man, found out something real interesting. I didn't realize this. Okay, so we discovered the source of the Bernie Bro thing because we were like, Bernie Bro thing, what the fuck? Like, because when we saw Bernie supporters, we saw all kinds of people. It seemed pretty fucking diverse. You know,
We were Bernie supporters.
yeah, we were Bernie supporters. Yeah, so we were like, Bernie Bros, like what the fuck? Okay, so everyone was insisting that it was a real thing, but we couldn't see it. So we were like, is it possible for both those things to be true? Turns out, yes. But the reason it happened, the thing that makes both those things true, is the most frustrating and aggravating aspect of all of this. Because it showed the myopic nature of the left at that period of time and how bad it was. Okay, so it turns out, where do the Bernie Bros come from? They were young male conservatives in red states who supported Bernie Sanders. That explained why we didn't run into any of them, because we live in a blue state. We weren't going to run into a lot of, you know, angry conservative people who supported Bernie Sanders, because everyone we knew who supported Bernie Sanders was a liberal. They're all Democrats. But there were Republicans. There were young Republicans that wanted Bernie Sanders, and in no small number either. So I was like, wait a minute. You telling me not only the Bernie Bro thing is real, but the reason it was real was because these were people who normally vote Republican? And the reason they're acting like macho assholes is that's kind of what you do when you live in a conservative state? We had them. We had the people on the other side of the aisle who were willing to go, yeah, feel the burn. What? We had that bipartisan coalition, but you said no. Had to be Hillary or nothing. Oh my God. That is so fucking myopic. How the fuck did you let that happen? Oh. Yeah. Bernie Bro. Southern Oregon. That is not liberal area. Yeah, Democratic Party, you done goofed. You done fucked up big. Big. You could have had a 12-year winning streak if you had just gone, but the funny thing was I found myself going like, nah, I think it's time for a scrappy Jewish grandpa to be president. He seems to have a good head on his shoulders. He's got an argument for everything. Okay, Bernie, let's do this. But no, couldn't do that. Which was really, really, really aggravating because it was really obvious that's where the energy was from the get-go. It's like, whoa, no, people getting behind this Bernie Sanders. I was blown away. I was like, wait, he's getting like how much support? A guy who just comes up and is like, yes, I believe in a socialist state. I believe that there are things that need to be provided by the public trust and are the right of all decent working Americans. And I'm like, okay, Bernie. Like, people are like, oh, Bernie is racist. What's he do? He talks to Killer Mike at a barber shop. I'm like, oh my fucking God. That is genius communication. No. He don't make Killer Mike come to him. He goes to Killer Mike. What a great way to communicate Bernie Sanders goes to the people. What a great way to communicate Bernie Sanders goes to Black America. It's like, I will represent you. I will be your dude. I will do it. And at that point, all we have to do is make sure that he's good for it. But when you looked at his history, you're like, well, he's been good for it in the past. The only thing that we could do is fucking stop. The only thing that can happen is the system stops him, which is what happened. Yeah, it was really weird. Like I understand why that happened because the Clintons are such a huge part of the Democratic Party. At least they were. And they didn't want to let go. But they had to. They had to let go. For the good of the goddamn country, they needed to let go. But they didn't. They had to hold on. Tight to the reins. Like an old fucking, old doddering dowager that just refuses to fucking cut any of her offspring in on the inheritance. Lady TL. Well, whereas we got Hillary, I got hot sauce in my purse. Oh, that was bad. The funny thing is even if it was true, I believe that was true because that was a known quirk of Hillary Clinton. That she liked hot sauce. That was true. But the fact that she made a truth come off like pandering was like, what? Hillary Clinton, I know that's true. That is known about you. Because I used to live in Washington, D.C. that is known about you, and it came off like a complete lie. We can't trust you when you're telling the truth. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. No, bail. Fucking bail. Like, we can't do this. And so by the time it came to the actual election, and it was like, well, it's either Hillary or Trump, it's like, fantastic. Here we are at a race to the bottom. No. Yeah. Yeah. It just, we needed, it was just one of those things. It was one of the things I was trying to explain to a lot of people for a lot of time when the idea of Hillary as president came up. I was like, that's not going to happen. And they're like, why? It's like, you don't think a woman should be president? I'm like, oh, no, not at all. The problem is that Hillary Clinton would probably not be a good president. You know, oh, you don't think she can do the job? And I'm like, I don't know about that. The problem is that Hillary Clinton is not good in a leadership capacity, and that's what a good president is. You know, but that's what a lot of bad presidents are too. You know, a leader. You know, and my litmus test for leaders has always been the phrase, the good shepherd doesn't lead, the good shepherd is followed. You know, if you can get people to follow you, you're a leader. You know, get them, you know, if they tie in their fate with yours, now you're a leader. You know, if you could do that successfully. Now, at that point, it's just an argument about whether you're leading them to a good place or not. But I saw Hillary Clinton as being kind of weak in the leading people at all before we even got to the ethical part. You know, whereas I saw Bernie Sanders as being very strong in that, and Barack Obama being a fucking genius at it. That guy's a fucking genius at it. That was amazing. You know, those two campaigns were incredible. You know, like right down to that poster. I loved it. Hope. What a message. What a message. And the reason I liked Feel the Burn was not only was it a good pun, it was like, you know, when do you feel the burn? When you're working out, right? So it communicates effort. It communicates the working man. And I'm like, yes. Perfect. Maybe not as good as just simply hope, but really good. Really good. I'm with her, not so much. It's like, oh, this is all about you. It's not about us. It's about you, not us. It's about you, the person saying I'm with Hillary, and about Hillary, but it's not about me. Unless I absolutely already agree with you. Unless I already agree with you. Barack Obama, you're voting for hope. You know, Bernie Sanders, join us. Hillary Clinton, I'm with her. You should be here already. Not as compelling. Not as compelling. I actually felt that if they really wanted to do that, it should have been she's with us. I don't know if that would have stuck, but that would have at least been a better way to communicate this. To be like, no. Hillary Clinton's going to lead the way. But nothing about that entire campaign was about how she was going to lead the way, which is something that every other successful campaign did. You know, about the only one that I can think of, the only campaign slogan that I can think of that wasn't like that was Eisenhower. I like Ike. which is I think what they were trying to go for. They were trying to go for I like Ike, but I found myself going like, well, too bad it's not the 40s anymore. Too bad. You know, we even remember we're gonna remember Trump's campaign slogan to the end of goddamn time: "Make America Great Again." We're gonna remember that for the rest of our fucking lives. History will remember that. History will remember that shit.
Even if it's remembered in irony, it'll still be remembered.
Yeah, even if it's remembered in irony, it'll still be remembered. You know, I don't even remember fucking W's campaign slogan. Did he have one?
I don't remember his campaign slogan, but I did remember the emphasis of the president you can have a beer with.
Yeah,
Not really
yeah.
slogan.
Yeah. They basically used Bill Clinton's old pitch, and recycled it for the neocons. I can't remember Ronald Reagan's either. Like, it really wasn't until the Obama where the campaign slogan really came back. What was it?
You'll probably remember the second one of Reagan's. It's Morning Again in America. That
Oh.
was his second one.
Oh,
The first one
yeah.
was really memorable.
Yeah, I remember that second one a little bit, you know.
Oh, that's why we don't remember George Bush's. During the 2000 campaign, he had like 4.
Oh. So basically none of them really caught on.
Compassionate conservatism, leave no child behind, real plans for real people, reformer with results.
Yes, America.
John Kerry's was Let America Be America Again.
Way to say nothing, Carrie. Way to say nothing. God damn it. Yeah, Yes, America Can was one of the W campaign slogans, as it turns out.
Which is very similar to Yes We Can.
Yeah. Australia has compulsory voting. Oh, interesting. Baron Samedi is now Bruce Lee 24. Okay, got it. Jesus. Is this the first time we've actually talked publicly about a lot of this shit?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, God. Yeah. Good God.
I mean, I've tweeted a little bit about my feelings on this stuff.
Yeah. I did too. That did not do a lot of good things for my reputation. At least not among the people that I was around at that point. It was not good. Because I was really super fucking angry. Really super fucking angry. Because I was operating right up until the primary. I was operating under the like, no, you don't understand. If we go with Hillary Clinton in the primary, we've lost. And I didn't want that. So of course, when it came down to Hillary or Trump, I was like, well, I hope this will work. I voted for Hillary Clinton because I really didn't want Trump, but it turns out that wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. And in the aftermath, I'm like, I knew it wasn't going to be enough. I was hoping it was going to be enough, but it wasn't enough. Turns out you need something more than I'm Hillary Clinton, vote for me. Even against Donald fucking Trump. Like, that's how bad that is. And yeah, she did win the popular vote. But how do you How are you a politician for so long and underestimate the importance of the swing states? That is a colossal lapse of judgment. That is a colossal lapse of judgment.
I was shocked by how much she came to California because I'm sitting there going,
I
like,
know.
you already have us. What are you doing here?
Yeah, why are you in California
Why
campaigning?
aren't you in
Like,
Florida right now? Why aren't you in any of those other states? Why?
well, like because when last time she actually went to Florida was after the fucking the shooting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that was a disaster. That was a complete fucking disaster. Because that's when she like stood up in front of like all those people and was like, "Well, we need to, fight the forces of Islamophobia." I was like, "Whoa, time and place." Time and fucking place. Like good God. We've got a great massacre on our hands, and I stand by it. That cost her Florida. Because they're just like, fuck you. Fuck you, we just got attacked. We just fucking instituted gay marriage, now you're attacking us. Fuck you.
The other thing that didn't work in Hillary's favor in a lot of things is that on specific issues, it doesn't matter here what Hillary's stance on gun control is or hasn't been.
Yeah, very true.
The state
Yeah.
doesn't give a shit. It's not really an issue here. That being said, the fact that she flip-flops in the last few elections that she's been a part in on the gun control issue means that states, which a lot of those swing states are very gun-heavy states.
Oh, yeah. Michigan, very pro-gun. Yeah.
How are they supposed to get behind her if they don't know where she even stands on that issue?
Yeah. It's like they might be able to let it slide if they get something else, but if they don't even know where she stands, then they don't know what to do.
Like, during this election, she went hard after Bernie for one of his votes. And
oh, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Because he voted, okay, so Bernie voted against allowing parents to sue gun manufacturers for their kids getting shot by guns.
Yes.
And his logic was, you can't sue someone for their product working as intended. I will gladly put stricter regulations on guns themselves, but you can't sue a car because someone got in a car accident. You can't.
Yeah. Unless you can prove malfeasance.
Unless you can prove malfeasance on the car's part, but the gun's literally supposed to shoot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which was perfect. I completely understood his logic there.
Yeah. Every time Bernie, that's why I liked him. Every time he explained something that seemed to impinge his reputation, like his answer would always be like, "Whoa, that's a sparkling answer."
Here's what pissed me off, because this election and the last election were the two elections that I paid close attention to. And I recall, after she went after Bernie for being lax on guns and the blood of Sandy Hook's on his hands, back in 2008, she said Obama was going to take away our guns as a way to try to get people against him.
Yep.
Then what is she? Is she pro-gun stuff or is she anti-gun stuff? Because I'm really fucking confused, because I remember that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people remember that. In fact, people pulled out the actual footage of her saying that shit.
Yeah. And what was the response? What was the response from the Hillary camp? Well, she has to say shit like that to get elected. And we're just like, that's not good enough.
That doesn't make me trust you. It makes me trust you no more or less than Trump. Like,
yeah. And that's a problem.
Because I already know he's a con man. But you just proved yourself to be a con woman. So
Yeah.
I have so many opinions on this.
Yeah. It was really fucked up. Yeah, when you assault half the electorate by calling them a basket of deplorables, that was amazing. That was a moment where I was like, all right, that's it, we're done. Fuck a pack of shit. No, there's no way she could lose the election. Really? Okay, media, I guess I'll trust you because you're telling me kind of what I want to hear. And then it turns out it was a big fat lie. And then at that point, I was like, okay, done. Thank you, media. Thank you, bias. Thank you, that bias. I guarantee. Yeah. God damn it. Yeah. The big problem with calling them a basket of deplorables is not if they're wrong. What if it's true? What if it's true? Now what are you going to do? Now what? It's like everyone had bought into the call-out hype machine, including Hillary Clinton. That ain't good. That's real bad.
All right, Jack, nothing else matters. I just sent you something on Twitter.
Oh, you just sent me on Twitter? Nothing else matters? All right. Let's check this out. See what we got. Okay. You are correct. Nothing else matters. Let's see if we can... I probably can't get this on the stream, but I would love... Damn it. Oh. Oh, Pickle Cat. Pickle Cat. dn.ht/picklecat. Check it out. You know what? Fuck it. Let's spend a little time trying to figure out how to get some shit on the stream itself. How to get web pages on stream XSplit. How to add web pages as sources. Do you have a web page you want to add on your stream? They could use it using the new feature of XSplit Broadcaster, add web page URL. Okay. All right. Let's see if this works. I have a feeling it won't, but we'll see. Media file. Wait, that's not it. Other web page URL. Okay, bam. Whoa, hey, get in there. Get in there. Come on. Copy link address. Bam. Oh, there we go. There we go. It worked. That was good. That was a good one. Okay, so apparently we've discovered how to put at least some web pages up on the damn thing. We're learning more every day. We're learning more every day. Well, let's... Do, bonk. Oh. You want to see what you missed, Ghoul Queen? Hang on. I'll be happy to put it back up. Let's do this. There you go. All right, I think that's pizza, so I'll leave you with Pickle Cat for a minute. have to. So the pizza arrived, and I'm gonna share with you the message that was inside.
Make you read it because that's a lot of glare.
I love you from your Countess heart. All right, back to Pickle Cat while we divvy up Swiss pizza. We're just gonna give in to this whole social eating aspect of shit. Like, god damn it. Can't fight the future.
Jack can't go 5 seconds without talking to somebody more like it.
No. No. I like talking to people. Oh, shit. Get that drink. I'll leave the mic on to prove Torguru's point. I'm pouring the coffee now.
See, he's still talking.
Yep. Sugar, 1.5 teaspoons. Why not? Oh shit, it's cold. Gotta put it in the microwave. Here we go. Yep. It's going in there for a minute. I'll come on camera again briefly. And be like, that microwave's gonna beep at any minute. And then I'm gonna go out and get the coffee. Maybe put some fucking soy milk in that damn thing. Oh yeah. Hey man, people are liking the beard.
That's good. I got nothing else to say, but that's good.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, like those pictures of you back in the day with the beard, it's like, oh man, why'd you ever get rid of this? That looked awesome.
Ironically, a lot of my female friends said I needed to get rid of it because beards are gross.
I think they were afraid that they'd be attracted and fear straying.
Maybe. A lot of them ended up dating people with beards and goatees, so...
Aha! Proof!
There you go.
Yeah, we need milk. Ow. Much better. Don't need that McDonald's coffee hotness. This is too much. It's going too far. Oh, man. Damn. Speaking of soy, did you know Arnold Schwarzenegger is now a vegan? What the shit? Bullshit. Bullshit. We gotta look into this. Arnold vegan? What? He's going vegan for the planet. Because the Schwarzenegger's diet is such that him not eating meat is going to repopulate. Okay. Stop eating meat if you want to live. Schwarzenegger pushes. What? What the fuck? This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Okay, hey, hold on. Good God. Good God. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Oh my God. Arnold Schwarzenegger becomes vegan. Bodybuilder, governor. Oh, look at that gif. Hello, Bambi. Wow. I will not eat you anymore. Oh my God.
Well, I guarantee his logic is probably the whole, like, cows and global warming argument.
I'm sure. That's
the one I hear the most these days when it comes to veganism. I really don't give a shit.
Yeah. Less meat, less heat, more life. Okay? Like, maybe not have that gif where he's in front of a green screen looking like shit. You know? Like, look at that. I stopped eating meat, and look what has become of me. Oh my God. Okay, now we're just getting into fucking comments. Fuck that. We don't need no fucking stinking comments. Not on other people's shit. I'll read my own comments. Thank you very much.
And cry.
Why don't they like me? Actually, for the most part, I still really like the comment section. I mean, stupid shit goes down there occasionally, but like it contains itself pretty well. For everyone that comes in with like a fucking stupid like MRA argument, someone's in there just go like, "Oh fuck you, fuck you, kiss my ass," which I appreciate. Trust me, I really appreciate it. Because there's some times where I'm like, "Oh man, maybe I ought to come in to defend somebody," and then they just come in with the verbal right hook. I'm like, "Oh okay, never mind. Apparently you can take care of yourselves."
Countess says to save her some pizza.
Okay, we can do that. Uh Hey Jack, ¿qué pasa? Oh shit. You gone beyond me. Hold on.
Really? You lived how long in San Francisco and never heard que pasa?
I'm half white. That's my only defense. I got nothing else. I got nothing else.
How you doing? What's up?
What's up? Yeah. Doing okay. You know? Had lunch at the taqueria. I mainly order everything with the carne asada because I like saying carne asada. Pollo asada is fun, but I like carne because it's like It sounds like you've fucking killed the animal with your own teeth when you say carne asada, because carnivore. You know. Conan the vegetarian.
Pseudo Sapien wanted me to send you some positive beams before she went to bed, so.
Beams?
That means.
Okay.
I guess I'm beaming you with positivity.
Well, I think that's what Pickle Cat was all about.
Oh, there you go.
You know. Me reading other people's comments? I've thought about it, but like that comment section has yet to get like so fucking
Here's what you gotta do.
insane. Yeah.
Ask them to roast you, and then have Satanic Jackula read them all.
Oh man. Oh, that's a possibility.
Or have them roast Mass Slasher, and have Mass Slasher respond to every beat.
Ooh. Ooh. That's an interesting idea. Although I think I think the guy I think would have the most awesome video out of reading his comment section would be Crash.
Yeah.
Because his comments are amazing.
Yeah, he doesn't work for Metal Sucks anymore. So
Oh, he stopped?
Yeah. So I don't think he's got those comments anymore.
Oh, that's too bad. Those comments were the best. Like some 50 it's amazing watching a community come up with 40 different ways of calling someone a douche. It's amazing. Like the amount of creativity is awe-inspiring.
I think the chat is already ready to fucking roast you.
Fucking roast Mass Slasher. A lot of things I want to talk.
Oh, did you still want to do the Costco thing today, or are we just gonna stream for the rest of
I think we're just gonna stream for a bit. You know, I think.
Alright, I'm gonna start playing games then.
Okay.
Have fun.
We're having a time, having a day.
Do what you need to do.
What we'll probably do is a little bit later. We'll go to the bank and then I'll fucking renew the membership. Yeah. Mass slasher plays Friday the 13th. Yeah, I've thought of that, actually. Am I supposed to write mass slasher fan fiction when you hate reading? Now that's for the entertainment of the people. Sometimes it's sometimes it's not for me. Sometimes it's about the people. You know. Yeah, I have seen some of the Friday the 13th gameplay footage. You know, looks pretty good. Don't know what else to say. Although the one I'm really looking forward to, but who knows when it comes out, is Agony. You know, I'd be looking a little bit more forward to uh Last Stranding and Persona 5, the American release of Persona 5, if I had a PlayStation 4. But I do not, so that's a barrier. Apparently, Karos, man, talk about like comment section. Apparently, I just got a notification that like some guy called Diversity Dan and another guy, Carlos Farah, are arguing. Diversity Dan. Hi, I'm Diversity Dan. I just want to base a white guy.
That's a really annoying name.
Mm-hmm. Diversity Dan. Oh my god. That's good. Hey Jack, have you ever watched When the Wind Blows? No. Hmm. Oh, interesting. Okay. Huh. When the Wind Blows is depression fuel? Oh, well, we're not watching that today. See, what's happening on the Twitter? Hmm. Nothing too interesting. He's nothing interesting enough to put on the stream. Choo, choo, choo. Choo, choo, choo. Choo, 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 choo. Boo, doo, 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 beep, beep, beep. Doom, doom, doo, 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 doo. Boom, boom, boom. I don't know why I'm just like got the Mario theme in my head. Da da dun. Da 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 da. Man. All right.
By the way, today's the last day if you want to buy Overwatch at some point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for that sale.
Oh, it's the last day of the sale? Oh, shit. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Come on, BattleNet. Where are you? Not NattleNet. BattleNet. No, Cortana, stop trying to help me. God damn it. Cortana, it's just fucking... Yeah. Oh, yeah, she is. Do 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 do. Buy a game. Buy for Windows 64-bit. Please select payment option.
Racism. Payment racism dollars.
In dollars of racism, is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Just when you thought racism couldn't get any more racism. All right. Please correct the errors below. God damn it. Do I have to edit this? Okay. I think I need to. I need to edit some shit because I just got that new just got a new card and so it's giving me crap. All right, BattleNet. Do. All right. So what we got? We got to go. Oh. Come on, BattleNet. Stop giving me shit. Support. Account settings. Log it. Oh, god damn it. That was the wrong word. That was the right word. Okay. All right. So, let us Now you gotta figure out change password. Payment options. Here we go. Default payment method. Edit this one. Oh, excuse me. Save payment method. Save it right there. Gonna pay for the stuff. Let's go back. Leave this page so we can reload. All right. Come on. Hey, dude, what's the difference between regular Overwatch and Origins editions?
Skins. You get extra skins for Origins.
They worth it?
I use some of them sometimes, but it's up to you. You can play the game without them. And you can also upgrade at any time. Meaning if you buy the normal edition, you can also upgrade to the other edition at any time for a much more discounted price, essentially removing the price of the original one.
Got it. I think I'll just get the regular one because I'm not looking at the. I'm seeing the Origin skins here, and they're not really lighting my world on fire.
There you go.
Buy for Windows. That would be what the buy now button is. Select payment method. That's the payment method. Pay now or forever hold your peace. Thank you. You have purchased it. Return to. I'm ready. All right. Awesome. All right. We got that. Now we just got to let that shit like download. Because it's like, hey, you got shit to download. We got installing to do.
We can totally play. I can put on my headset if you want to.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. Fucking do some Overwatch. Can we get people like from the stream in that as well?
We can totally do that.
Okay, yeah, I think we'll do that. I think we'll Overwatch it for a bit and get some people from from the Slut Pit in. But before we do that, I do.
Deep Fryer's buying himself Overwatch now.
Yeah. So it's gonna be whichever 6 people we get. Like, oh, hold on, having some issues. All right, that's a bit better. So like 20 years of Diablo with. Wait. Oh, okay. I'm about to say, like, holy shit, Overwatch with Diablo skins would be amazing.
It's obvious that they did. Because they did,
Right. Alright, opening the one loot box I got. I got a skin for Zarya. I got money. And, let's see, do I have? Oh no, I'm not paying money for fucking shit. No way. Social. Hey, dude,
Yeah.
don't look now. You're playing Overwatch.
I just found out that there's a company that plays them. Their icon.
Yeah, apparently, yeah, I see that. I see that. Okay, go figure out how to do this.
In order to reduce echo, you should probably play this headset.
Yeah. We're gonna have to get this
It
like
works.
set up. All right. God damn it, gonna have to exit to desktop for the moment. Do. All right, let's get the Twitch chat up here. Not connected to any Twitch chat. Come on. You know which one you want to connect to. Connect. Who needs game controller when you got Connect? All right. Copy. Fucking paste. Paste. Paste as new source. There we go. Okay, there we go. All right. We got some. I think we're gonna have to change the color of the chat box a little bit. Just.
All right. Should I get into Discord or Skype?
Um. Let's Discord it.
Discord.
Yeah. Dis. Yeah. Oh, for that matter, I probably should have gotten the headset before I did any of that shit. Happy winter to all of us from Disco. Okay, fuck you. Come on.
All right. I'm signed on to Discord.
Okay, cool. Where's the fucking. Oh. Helps if I have it on the right way. There we go. Do. Voice channels. Okay, bam. Okay. Voice connected. Whew. Direct messages. Okay. All right, I just sent you a link to the.
All right, I'm already in the Slut Pit chat.
Okay,
My name should be right under yours.
it is, but I'm just trying to get into the voice channel here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I guess you have to move yourself in, or
Oh okay. How do I? Then what's going on?
do 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 do.
Hmm.
All right, let me restart Discord.
I'm so confused.
Yeah, I know.
I wish I had a better understanding of how this damn thing works.
Yeah, I know. Like we're fucking canaries in a coal mine on this.